All right, hello, welcome back. Let's hope that the Wi-Fi holds this time. It's Anna Brooks here, and welcome to today's episode of Anna's Attitude Adjusters. Give me just a second. Oh, that's a pen. Okay, I was trying to work out if I can flip this around. I know people sometimes flip it around, but I'm not sure how to do it, so that's all right. We will get started and I'll just have to continue as I was. All right. Give me one sec. Now, before I start, I have to let you know I am very much a unicorn today. I haven't actually done my makeup or anything properly today, so that's why my eyes look so small and pointy, and I'm going to probably just stare at them and get really paranoid about them the whole live stream, but whatever, we'll deal with it. But you got to check out, let me just see if I can lower that down. So I've got I can't even see it there. All right, let me just get this tripod to point down. So I have my unicorn top on, which I absolutely love. That's actually good. I should probably just keep that angle and then I can stand a little bit more comfortably. Cool. There we go. So I've got my unicorn top on. Let me just straighten this out though, because it's gonna fall down. And I don't know if you saw my post just before. I got this awesome new journal. Like, oh my God, you can see how like it's changing all the lighting and everything because it's so friggin' shiny and awesome. And it was just from Kmart and I'm absolutely in love with it already. I cannot wait to start using this journal. So I'm in a very unicorn mood and in a very let's make things happen, let's change things, let's get everything going for you. So let me give you the backstory to today's episode of Anna's Attitude Adjusters, which is going to be about, is there a childhood belief that you're still holding on to that's holding you back from actually moving forward in the way that you want? So what happened today is I was having a chat with a new friend who didn't yet know about, I guess, my history in terms of my binge eating, also with my dad killing himself last year, and my dad's history with depression and the way that I was brought up and the difficulties there and all that kind of thing. So this new friend hadn't known about this yet, so I basically just told him about that, and I'm very open. I'm always an open book. I don't hold things back anymore. I tell everyone everything and I'm happy to discuss it because I think that that's really important to actually be honest about things and to be forthright about them, to discuss them, because if I can do it, if I can bring it forward, then I know a lot of people are going to feel braver about actually talking about what they're going through, which is really important. But he didn't know about all of this yet. So I did tell him about this, and as is normal, I guess, when someone sort of newish to you learns about it, most people, the natural reaction is to say, I'm really sorry that you've gone through that, or, that would have been really tough. Like, thank you for sharing and, that kind of thing. And as usual for me, I kind of, not that I brushed it off, but my natural reaction isn't depression. My natural reaction isn't down. It's always very up, which I guess is something that I've genetically, I suppose, I have the predisposition there to go in the same sort of track that my dad did. But I specifically chose from a very young age because I was so interested in human behavior and psychology and the mindset and the fact that you can just create anything you want through your mind. I was so obsessed with this from such a young age. I can't even tell you how young, but I know that I would have been like 5 or so when I first came across stuff from Tony Robbins. Obviously, I wasn't quite probably ready to read all of his stuff yet, but my God, I was consuming like his audios and all that kind of thing from that age, which strangely enough, now that I think of it, actually came from my dad, because he was obviously trying to also go down this path to help himself through the depression, but he wasn't going about it the right way. But it was from my dad's files and everything that I stole this, and I started to listen, and then as soon as I could read properly, I started into all of Tony Robbins' books, and this just, I couldn't consume it enough. It wasn't just him, it was so many other authors and audios over the years that I absolutely loved and just consumed and consumed and consumed because it was so riveting for me, right? And so when I was talking to my friend today, I told him about what happened with my dad and with him killing himself last year. And of course, his natural reaction was, I'm so sorry to hear about that. I had no idea. Someone who meets you and someone who chats to you I guess on a surface-ish level, or even not a surface-ish level, just even a lot of my clients, if they didn't know me last year, they probably wouldn't think to guess that this is what has happened to me recently and the kind of life that I have led up until now and the difficulties that I've gone through. It wouldn't be something that people would naturally guess, because I do come across as quiet, confident, very optimistic, very much in control, very much focused on what I want and going in that direction. I don't tend to come across as very melancholy or sad or depressed or anything like that, because I'm not, for starters. So that's a really big part of it. But also it's just not my natural nature, and it's not the nature that I chose for myself from a very young age as well. But in talking to my friend about this today, I realized, and I think that this might be something you could relate to, is that very often we form different beliefs when we're very young, from the way that situations unfold around us, or the way that we handle particular situations as well. And as we are children, when this happens, our reasoning skills and our logical skills aren't as good as they are now. So the things that we may choose to believe, or the way that we choose to see a particular situation, can be very limiting in the way that they actually come across when you look back on it further, right? So as an adult going through a situation that you went through as a child, you might look at it and see it much more clearly and be like, well, no, that had nothing to do with you, or whatever. Like say your parents got divorced when you were quite young. As an adult looking back on that, you can go, yeah, obviously that had nothing to do with me. My parents are my parents. They're just two people who met in the world and decided to form a life together. If that didn't work out, that was them. That wasn't because I'm a horrible child and I caused them to split up, right? But as a child, if at the same time that this was happening, you might have noticed that your parents were unhappy and this made you unhappy, and so you started, misbehaving at school or whatever it is, and then they got divorced, it may have been made quite a lot of sense in your mind at the time that you were actually the cause of it, that you were the cause of people's unhappiness, that you break people up, that you make people miserable, right? And these are the kind of things that we quite easily take on as children, because we don't have the reasoning and the logical capabilities of adults. So we can't look at the situation as clearly from the outside and be able to go, well, no, that had nothing to do with me. And the reason that I was acting up and the reason that I was actually doing all of these things was because I was feeling really unstable at home. My parents were fighting. My parents weren't happy. I didn't know my place in the world, basically. And that's something that kids really need, is they need that stable foundation of knowing where they belong, at least for a period of time, so they feel confident to move out into different areas, right? But this isn't going to be all about the childhood stuff, right? So let's bring it back to what I mean, basically. So if you have this kind of belief that you formed when you were young, like in that instance, it might have been something along the lines of, I make people unhappy, I make those close to me unhappy, I'm not a really good person, I'm actually a bad person, I split people up, I cause problems, or something more, I guess, towards what I realized. And if you've gone through difficulties in your life, and especially when you were younger, if you went through a lot of difficulties with maybe abusive or emotionally abusive, physically abusive, or just really difficult situations growing up when you were a child, and you kind of took on, as I know a lot of my clients, very similar to me. So if you're like me, and this is why you're in this community and in this tribe, so you kind of understand this stance, I suppose, is that you probably took on that sort of responsibility of being the strong one, of being the one that puts up and shuts up, basically, of just going, well, no, I'm strong, I'm confident, I can do this, I can handle anything you throw at me, I am tough, right? And these are the kind of beliefs that I subconsciously took on from a very young age, seeing the difficulties my parents were going through, seeing my dad and the way that he was, and the different the different ways that he displayed his anger and his depression over the years. I'd very much, and also being an only child, I didn't really have the choice of having an older sibling to take that route. I guess it had to be me. And so you might be feeling the same way, that you sort of took on that persona of being the confident one, being the strong one, being the one that just puts up with everything and can handle it and can move forward even better and just be tough and be strong, and not fall apart, right? So if this is ringing kind of some bells and resonating with you, then this is exactly what I want to talk about for today, is attitude adjusters, right? Because when you get to a certain age, when you become an adult, right, if you're still holding on to those beliefs, basically, that I guess the thing that would come from that would be a limiting belief of thinking life is always going to be hard for me. Life has to be hard so that I can prove myself for how tough I am, right? I can't actually be my tough, strong, powerful self if life isn't hard. And therefore, you've gotten this limiting belief in the back of your subconscious, in the back of your head, that always says life needs to be hard. Making money needs to be hard. Getting to my goals needs to be hard. Having the body and the fitness and the relationships and the career and whatever it is that I want in life, if I want those things, they have to be hard. If they're not something that I've had to be really strong and really tough and really grind my way through, then they can't be worth it. That's not what my life's about. My life is about pushing through hard, right? So if this is resonating with you, if you're sort of seeing, oh, okay, yes, I can see where this has come up for me, where over the years I've gotten to a stage where no matter how far I try and how hard I push, and no matter how hard I aspire to be strong and tough and I work so much harder than everybody else, but I'm not getting the results, where there's other people that seemingly do absolutely sweet fuck all and get all of the results. If this is resonating with you, then it's most likely because you have at some stage when you were younger taken on that limiting belief of life needs to be hard for me in order for me to be me, in order for me to show how powerful I am. It needs to be hard. It can't be easy for me. I cannot have anything come easily, right? And this kind of limiting belief has put you in this state where that is all that you're attracting. You're constantly attracting more challenges, more hard things, and you get tougher and tougher and tougher. But then you do get to that stage where you don't even realize that you're doing it anymore. And this is kind of what, I obviously do a lot of mindset work myself. I'm not perfect by any means, and I am constantly growing and evolving, just as you are, just as we all are. And this is something that I guess I've been aware of, is this tendency for me to expect things to be hard and expect things to end badly, I guess, because that's what I'm familiar with. I'm familiar with when things go bad, when people kill themselves. I'm familiar with how to deal with that, how to cope with that. That is where I feel powerful. However, I will admit that I feel quite challenged a lot of the time, and a lot of resistance comes up for me when things are easy, when things in my business become easy, when things in my relationships in the past, I've dealt really well with the relationship part of it now, because my relationship is the easiest thing in the world with my husband, and I am sure as hell not stuffing that up, because I absolutely love how effortless and how perfect it is when we're together or apart. So that's really funny that that's actually translated into my relationships, that I've got it. But definitely there's some work to do around my business, around money mindset, around my career, that kind of thing, where it still is that recurring sort of belief of, no, if this isn't challenging, if this isn't hard, if I don't feel like I'm having to prove something and I'm having to cope and I'm having to push through and be the strong and independent one, then it's not really worth it, right? So if this is resonating with you, it's really important to trace it back to where this started. Think back to your childhood and think back to, well, when did you first start, do you think? Like, obviously you may not remember the exact moment, and that's fine, but think back and go, at sort of what age and what kind of things were going on when you decided that life had to be hard because you had to be the strong one, you had to be the powerful one, you had to be the one to cope with it all, and you had to be the one to take all of that responsibility, right? When did that start becoming your norm, and when did you stop believing that things could just be easy, that your relationships could just be effortless, that getting money could be just effortless, that your career, that your relationships, that having the body and the fitness and the energy and the vibrancy that you want? When did you decide that that stuff can't just be easy, it has to be hard fought, right? Trace it back to that for starters. And then shift, right? So whether it is journaling, whether it's talking it through with someone, whether it's just purely admitting it and acknowledging it, because that can be a really big part. Like I said, a lot of the time we will just go through all of these patterns and we will repeat them and we will repeat them and we will repeat them without realizing what we're doing. And sometimes all it really takes is just acknowledging and going, holy shit, this is what I'm doing. When something comes easily to me, I push it away. I say, nah, this can't be right. This is too easy. Come back to me when you're prepared to make it hard for me, basically. And then the universe will rearrange, and sure enough, it'll bring it to you in a hard way, right? But it's so draining to continue this way when it's not meant to be this way. We can focus and we can bring into our reality anything that we want, right? And so we can do that basically anytime that we choose, purely by focusing on what it is that we want. So rather than focusing on when things do get hard and you go, oh my God, this is great, this is how I'm going to prove myself once again, instead look for when things are easy and appreciate them. Give gratitude to those things. If you don't already keep like a gratitude journal, or you don't have a gratitude practice every day, so mine, for example, is nightly. I will always, before bed, I will go and lie down. It's my way of getting my mind to settle down, and I'll pretty much drift into sleep in gratitude every single night. But what I will do is I will run through my day in my mind, right? And I will actually start noting down all the different things that day that I'm really grateful for, all the things that I really appreciate. So they can be tiny little things. It can be that a particular client got a little further along their journey and they thanked me, or it could be big things that happened as well. Sometimes, a new business deal or whatever lands in my lap, and that's awesome as well. But whatever it is, I go through the entire day and become really, really grateful for all the little things that happened. And this is really, really important, because this makes you look for the stuff that's easy as well and really appreciate it, rather than doing your default where something comes easily for you and you push it away. You freak out and you're like, no. There has to be a catch to this. There has to be something about this that's going to be hard. It cannot be this easy, okay? So it is very much an attitude adjustment. It is a way of seeing things to go, okay, I understand that this is where I've gotten to so far because of this belief. Now I want to go a different way. Now, it's not that you're going to get lazy. You're not going to suddenly not fight for things. You're not going to suddenly become really useless and have absolutely no strength and no confidence and no power in your ability to cope and deal with things and difficult things when they do come up. But it's simply a case of, well, sometimes things are just going to be easy. And the more that you allow those things to be easy, the more they will keep being easy, right? Because you're not blocking them anymore. You're not limiting yourself anymore and saying, no, it's only if it's hard that it's okay. Otherwise, it can't be, right? So, and this may come up, like I said, if you've been through difficult things in your life, whether it's circumstances or situations that you've dealt with in your past, in your childhood, or even in your adult life, whatever it happens to be. If you're then talking to people and you find yourself still just very much, I guess, brushing off the idea that you have had challenges in your life, and this is something that I used to do very much. I'd be like, oh no, I'm fine. This is all fine and everything's okay. And I'm tough, I'm fine, I'll get through it, right? There came a stage at which I was able to actually admit that, you know what? Yes, I'm fine, but I'm going to stop diminishing the effort and the effort that it's taken on my part and the energy that it's taken on my part to be fine, right? Because yeah, it's great that the day after my dad killed himself, I was back at work working with my clients and I didn't skip a beat. Yeah, that's great. And it was really, really great for me because like I say, I always, this is my safe place. Doing my work, doing my soul work, my stuff that I love is always going to make me happy, is always going to bring me back to myself. So why in the world would I want to stop that, right? So that's true for sure. But the change I made when this happened last year was that I didn't hold this back anymore. I didn't lie to anyone. I didn't pretend as if nothing had happened. I told my clients straight up what had happened, and a lot of them were a bit shocked because I guess it was the first time that it really struck them with how much I actually do what I preach, right? And how much I actually do when I do say, you always have a choice in terms of how you react to things, how you frame things, how you see things, the way that your mind processes stuff. That is not a default. That is your choice. Unfortunately, so much of the time we operate on a default that we don't even realize that. And this was what, for a lot of my clients, the first time that they actually got to see this in practice for me on a really huge scale, where they're like, well, holy shit. Like, I know you always say that you love what you do and that this is what lifts you up and that there's nothing in the world that would take you away from this, but my God, like your dad killed himself last night, you're here, right? And so that was a huge thing. And like I said, it also takes that practice to just be able to admit that, okay, it's not easy. Yes, there's tough times. Yes, you're not perfect. Yes, there's going to be times when you want to fall apart, different challenges that come up, but the support system can't be there for you, and you cannot get through. You cannot build the kind of dreams that you want to build if you don't have the support system in the first place. So if your belief is always going to be that everything just needs to be so hard and so hard fought, and you just need to be able to get through difficult and impossible situation one after the other and just cope and be strong and power through because you're tough unlike anybody else and that kind of thing, if that's going to be your belief forever and ever and ever, that's all that you're going to get is constantly difficult situations, as opposed to allowing situations that are just easy, that are just effortless, that are just fun and beautiful. And we all go through difficult stuff for sure, but it's your choice about how you're going to move forward from them and to actually set up that support for yourself to be able to go, you know what? I'm okay right now, but sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I am sad. Sometimes I do need more support. Sometimes I do need a break or whatever it is, right? And if you're not prepared to just admit that to yourself and to actually acknowledge that maybe you are making things harder for yourself because it is what makes you confident and makes you feel powerful, then you're going to keep going in that direction the whole time. And you deserve to have things be effortless as well. You deserve to have things come easily. It doesn't need to be one or the other all the time. It doesn't need to be basically that if you're making things easy, then that means you're not working hard. Not at all. Not at all. I work my ass off every single day, but everything that I do, I love and I enjoy, but that does not mean I don't do work, right? And this is really important to understand, that you're not going to get lazy just because you let things come easily to you, just because you let love and support come easily to you, rather than feeling like you have to fight for everything because everything's hard, okay? So I'm going to leave that one there. Let me know if you have any questions or comments on this topic. I know it's kind of a big one, so I've tried to kind of stick on one area as much as possible. But this sort of belief that you might have taken on from your childhood, it could be anything. I gave another example at the beginning about, like, you know, your parents divorcing when you were young and how that may have changed things. But there's so many different other ones. So like I said, the process is go back, identify what these limiting beliefs that you started to take on were. If you can, try and work out what exactly sparked them. Or it could have been a series of events. It could have been just a series of changes or just the way that you started seeing things. But try to get to the root of where that might have started so you can actually go, okay, yeah, look, from an adult's perspective, that's a really dumb belief to have. However, or not dumb, but really limiting belief to have that's gotten me this far, but it's not going to get me further. I need to shift this around. And then once you've identified that belief, you can choose a different one. It is as simple as that. You get to choose a new belief anytime you want and then just act accordingly and move forward, okay? Any questions, anything you want to ask me about this topic, please feel free to pop a comment down below or private message me as well. That's absolutely fine. I'd love to have a chat. And if you have any other suggestions about something that you might want me to talk about or that you have some concerns about, please do also comment below and let me know. Before I go today, make sure if you have not checked out the VIP Dream Body Overhaul, make sure you jump on and check that out. It's at anabrooks.com.au/VIP Dream Body, all one word. There is just one spot left for the launch offer rate, right? So after these first 3 are sold, the price is going to go up. So this is the last spot that is available. If this is something that interests you, it is your one-on-one full-day immersion into fat loss, fitness, and feeling sexy as fuck. This is something I absolutely specialize in and I absolutely love, is just working with you one-on-one to absolutely immerse you and get you the kind of results you want. So this is all about you, all about how you want to eat, how you want to train, how you want to see yourself and the goals that you want to set. I am so good at getting you to the core stuff and really getting you to get honest about what you truly want. So on the VIP day, the first thing that we do is we work on your mindset. We go through your goals. We go through so many beliefs and things like that that really need to be shifted and changed and realigned to you. So I'm not changing things that are going to be out of alignment to you. They are going to be exactly what feels right for you. We change those, we update those basically. We work out a workout program for you. We come to the gym. I will take you through a workout as well as write you a workout, whether you want to train in the gym on your own later or at home, whatever it happens to be. We're going to go through that as well, not to mention all of your eating stuff. So there's going to be heaps of amazing coffee. We're going to have some lunch. Lots of journaling, lots of talking, lots of mindset work, and lots of actual active work as well. So you can check out all of the details at the link below, so you can read through exactly what is involved in the whole day. Not only do you get the VIP day, but then you get a month of coaching following up afterwards. So you have a whole month to ask me more questions as you're getting into it, as you're really committing to it. 2 hours of one-on-one coaching with me as well as unlimited email access for that month. So it's really all about getting you totally immersed, totally excited, and totally started in a way that is completely personalized to you. And then you've got me there for that full month afterwards to really nut it all out, get consistent with it, get the results happening, and then we can take it from there if you want. But this is an incredible new offer that I've started. I am in Melbourne right now, so that is where these VIP days are going to be held. If you want to score that last spot, make sure you private message me really soon, since it's going to sell out within the next week or so. So make sure you do absolutely message me or email me as well, whichever one you prefer. But if you're already watching me on social media, then feel free to just private message me here on my Facebook page, or if you're watching this on YouTube later, then my email is anna@annabrooks.com.au. I'll pop that down below as well. And that is it. I will leave you guys to it. Have a fantastic weekend, whatever you happen to be doing. And remember to live life on purpose. Bye.